What's up, everyone? It's Lovenji here, and we're about to take on Mission 20, Archipelago. It's an interesting mission that poses a few creative challenges, but isn't actually all that difficult, though it was a wall for me as a kid. But then, most of these missions were because they required you to think a little bit instead of just spam spells with the shaman. But anyway, without further ado, let's get this mission underway. So, this is Archipelago and we're going straight into a build section. One thing you may notice about the conversion phase is that I disable the charging of the blast spell. Now, blast isn't particularly mana intensive, but I do it just to increase the rate that we can convert. More followers means more buildings means more mana. I always believe it works out in the end. So we built this guard tower here because, as you can see, we're on a very small island. And the objective of this mission is to connect these small islands to get a bigger island so that you have a tribe that can actually rival the Dakini. Now, the very first time I encountered this mission, I actually rage quit it, believe it or not. I was very young, but I didn't have the tactical prowess to figure this out. And I saw my island, got really angry at the size of my island versus the size of their island, and just quit. Now, this was back on the PlayStation 1. Now, if any of you know anything about the PlayStation 1 release of Populous, it's that not only was the blast spell significantly nerfed in damage, so its ability to deal with early attacks is less potent, but its save file uses an entire PlayStation game card. I'm stopping talking here. See, I used to be very good at that, and I get very lucky there that hitting the boat on the land makes the men jump out the boat, and they jump out to where the boat was, which is in the water, and they can't swim. But anyway, the save files for Populous on the PlayStation used an entire memory card, which meant I always had to play this game without saving. It's one of the reasons why learning to beat the missions quickly, ironic I know because I haven't been doing that for this playthrough, was very important, because you had to do it in one playthrough. Now, I'm casting the lightning spell just a touch too early, and it's showing as I'm missing this boat repeatedly, giving it a good little speed boost out of the way. I actually forget that that boat is a bait, so it is baiting out my uses of the lightning spell. And you'll see what I mean by that in a few seconds. So I hit it there. Get a kill. You have to hit the boat dead on with a lightning spell to kill everyone in it. But that leaves me now with no lightning spells for the enemy attack. Now, I put this tower here because I know the enemy were going to attack at some point. I was trying to prepare for it, and I thought that's what the fire warriors were doing. I was wrong. Now, you have to leave the tower, because the very first thing she does is lightning the tower. Well, technically, she lightnings the hut. She will always lightning a tower as well. It's something to do with the shaman target priority. If she sees a tower, she will hit it with lightning, because, you know. Then she'll hit you with lightning, if you cast a spell. The AI for the shamans in the original game has a very retaliatory AI. Messed up saying that word. What that means is that if you cast a spell and you're in range of one of her spells, there is a chance, not guaranteed, a chance she responds with a spell of her own. Now, this often just means that you trade blasts, but if she's got a lightning spell available to her, she will trade your spell with a lightning, and that can cause significant damage. If you're not ready for it, like I wasn't, you die. We're gonna just knock her into the water because she couldn't figure out that that boat is there. So, we're charging the land bridge, and we're charging the land bridge purely because, as the name implies, Archipelago, if you're not a master of English, it's a collection of small islands, which is what this map is. If you look at the minimap, you can see all those tiny islands around us. So the land bridge is very important because what we have to do is essentially give ourselves the tools to create a bigger base. This is why I'm using the speed up function here. Basically, we're in the establishing the tribe phase. I actually get the lightning spell shot there, which is good for us because it gives us more mana to land bridge. And this is all I am doing. I am just expanding as much as I can. Now, angles are very important with the land bridge. As you can see, it creates quite a wide bridge, and so you should always position with that in mind. With good angling, you can get these really wide bridges, and try to fire it as straight as possible. You can get really wide bridges that connect huge chunks of land, and you get the most value out of that. So I don't connect tons of islands, I just connect those two and then continue to land bridge between them, and that generally makes a tribe big enough. As you can see, I'm just trying to figure out where I can put everything. I don't use followers very much, but I like having the huts just in case. It's more pertinent to the maps with Armageddon in it. And I've also been picked up that I keep calling Firestorm Armageddon, which I do apologise for. It's raining fire, that's pretty Armageddon-y to me. So this is just a very minor attack that we're just clearing up. Now, we're at the stage of the game where she's going to start casting Angel of Death. Now, the AI for that moves the shaman to a very specific location. Then when she stood in that location, she casts Angel of Death. Now, unlike as you saw in Mission 5, the Angel of Death being this huge, scary thing that ends the game, I really consider the Angel of Death just an annoyance. As you can see, it break buildings and scare all the braves and kill them off one by one. But it is annoying if it kills your shaman when you're being attacked. I'll give it that. But it doesn't threaten the longevity of your tribe. It doesn't. When you've got a big tribe, it can't kill followers off quick enough by itself. You can win the game with Angel of Death. You can win any of the late missions with Angel of Death just by having a 200 pop tribe where everyone's busy, and you'll actually be able to cast Angels of Death quicker than the Angel of Death times out. Which means you can slowly build up an army of Angels of Death that will, over time, wipe out the enemy tribe for you. But, in the context of this mission, she never casts more than one at once, and there's quite a sizable gap between her casting them. And what's more, she has to walk to that specific point to cast it. So what we can actually do is we can intercept her, and through the use of something like a swamp spell, as you can see, she's moving to that spot. With the swamp spell, she will now respawn, walk to that point, and die. So we can farm her for mana whilst stopping her Angels of Death. As you can see, she just died again. She's going to keep doing that for as long as those swamps are there. So I now just get to build up my mana pool. And I've got a 3-stack swamp there, so even as Braves run into it, that will keep the Shaman busy for a very, very long time. So now I make a play for our own Angel of Death spell, and I show off a neat little trick here. If you lightning a building and tornado that building while it's still on fire, the tornado will do more damage. You may have noticed when I'm tornadoing the Fire Warrior hut in particular, but sometimes also the Preacher hut, that the tornado doesn't actually kill the building. If you lightning it, then tornado it, it absolutely will. Assuming you don't get the other bug with the tornado spell, which is if you tornado something that's slightly out of range, it fails. So as you may have seen from the few times we've actually prayed to a Vault of Knowledge, when you pray to a Vault of Knowledge, it gives you a free cast of the spell. We use that immediately. And we're going back into another sped up segment as we just prepare the tribe for what is essentially the final push of the game. Now, those Fire Warrior notifications are just the Fire Warriors shooting at the Angel of Death. I don't actually know if it has any effect. I've never seen it have any effect, but I don't know if it reduces the time or the duration or anything like that. As you can see, I can just slowly charge up Angels of Death and have them harassing the Dakini for me without me having to do all that much. Now, there's very interesting interaction with two Angels of Death, as you're about to see here after this one kills me. The two angels will eye each other up, and then they'll charge at each other. And they were made of wood the whole time! Yeah, the Angels of Death will counter each other out. So two Angels of Death will just kill each other. That is assuming they meet. It is possible to have two Angels of Death in the opposite tribes, killing one another and ignoring the other angel. But as I lost my last angel, I'm just spawning another one in. But at this point, I'm pretty confident that we have what it takes to be able to close out the mission, and that's pretty much all that's going to happen for the rest of this video, is we just get to unload hell. You may have noticed the little land bridge technique I did from my tower to that small island, which then connected the Dakini tribe to us by land instead of by water. That's something I discovered purely out of my hatred for boats. I don't like boats. I've said in almost every single episode that I don't like boats, and that's to the extent of finding that land bridge, just to avoid using boats. I would imagine you could do this mission much quicker if you actually trained an army, because you'd be able to move the entire army without having to control a single boat across that land that's been made. That was a big tornado fail, and I'm not happy about it. My Angel of Death is about to be ready again, so we're just going to spawn in another one and go and grab ourselves a shaman kill, because I suspect she's holding on to a bunch of mana. So you can see we traded lightning spells. She missed hers. I did not miss mine. This is again that trade effect that I was mentioning earlier. I cast a spell and I was in range of her lightning spell, so she tried to retaliate with lightnings. You may notice from the mana charge bar that Angel of Death is a really mana intensive spell. Again, we're using Firestorm. I have erroneously called this spell Armageddon throughout the course of the game. It's not Armageddon, it's Firestorm. Armageddon makes people fight to the death. Firestorm makes it rain fire. But in my defense, that is very Armageddon-y, raining fire. So, as always, you reach this point where you're aware you've got the victory, you're just doing the damage now. The Earthquake is a very underappreciated spell. It combines the effects of the Erode spell with the Lava of the Volcano spell, and severe ground shaking as well. That ground shaking can actually also cause structural damage. So you get this weird situation where the lava will kill men that have stood on it. Sometimes buildings will sink into the water that's created for a microsecond. And on high ground it creates such a steep ledge that buildings just instantly explode. So we really are just rounding up the final stages of this mission, in which we are just trying to finish off the structures, Now, the AI is not particularly intelligent about when it wants to surrender. You really have to reduce its population to next to nothing. It's normally no huts producing new followers and about 5 total followers remaining will generally do it. So I die here, but I'm aware that we've won. The Angel of Death is just picking off things. And I speed up the game until I respawn and finish the game with a swamp. And that's all. Okay everyone, that was mission 20, which features the permanent unlocking of the Angel of Death spell. As always, like, leave a comment, I read them all, and subscribe and share the video, and let me know what you'd like to see me do in the future.